But speaking on that, another sequel, I think I would not say it doesn't hold a candle to the original, but it was interesting to see Ghostbusters Afterlife. They call it a sequel. Another film. I don't know exactly. We don't really know a whole lot. We did get a little bit of a press release on Ghostbusters Afterlife. What will happen next? It is going to arrive rather quickly. So for those of you that hadn't seen, and I say this not because I consider Afterlife to be this, flawless film or that, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was a film. I thought it was emotionally engaged enough to the franchise. I felt like it was a great continuation of the story. It's been confirmed 20th Christmas time next year, so 2023. So take that, Disney, Marvel, and all you movie churning machines. Jason Reitman says no. Basically, he was working on probably a follow-up as immediately as he was doing the original. So, T-shirt, let me ask you, what are your thoughts? And then
you're kind of cutting off there.
Sequel. Oh man! All right, let me stop sharing my screen. That's part of the problem. I'm sure. I probably made a tech issue, so let me.
I thought it was me.
Oh,
no, it's not you.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Is it better now?
It is.
Yep.
I'll stop sharing. So that's probably the problem. I probably have limited bandwidth or whatever. So there is a link in the chat for the Afterlife 2 story if you wanted to share it at your end. But so let's start with the general question. So what's your thoughts on Afterlife and a sequel and all that kind of stuff as far as the Ghostbusters franchise? What's your thoughts, T-shirt?
To me, it feels like Afterlife. Well, I mean, okay. The truth is, the way Afterlife is plotted out, it really feels like there's just two Ghostbusters films. And that is Ghostbusters, the original, and then Afterlife. Because 2, you could kind of take it or leave it. It was okay. It wasn't nearly as funny as the first one. It wasn't nearly as good as the first one. It had a few moments, but honestly, if you never saw 2, it wasn't a big loss. And 2016 was just,
we don't want to speak
flaming dumpster fire full of crap. So
absolutely a mess, just an absolute complete mess. It's insane how bad it was. Do you think because basically the press the story that come out is that they're going to continue the story? It's going to take off with the after credit scene with back in New York. It's a lot more focus on Winston. It's obviously presumed that this original cast of kids will all come back. Those kinds of things. I don't know. What about you, Mags? You high or low on seeing more Ghostbusters Afterlife and what happens next, kind of stuff?
I think it's just a. I mean, I know it wasn't up to a lot of. I know it seemed like there were some mixed reviews, but I know hearing from other folks, like people from Midnight's Edge and all that kind of stuff. I think maybe it's a good thing to try to move forward with this, but it has to be with the right people. They can't regress back to Ghostbusters 2016.
No.
So, I mean, they're going to have to literally leave that stuff behind. So if it's, I mean, look at like a Jace Fox in the chat. He says, love the first 2 is fun, Afterlife good, and made me cry. And that seemed to be a lot of people's reactions to Afterlife. Yeah. And, maybe hopefully that's just a sign that, if you work with the fans and you don't bash the fans, they will come out and support it. So hopefully that lesson has been learned. And I think there is the right people involved. It's just, they're going to have to be very careful with, don't regress backwards, because that's the only problem. There is the right people.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think both of Jace's comments are fine. Like I have the same kind of reaction. I enjoyed Ghostbusters 2 for what it was. Obviously I think T-shirt's spot on. It's not nearly as good. We could have easily have skipped it. Afterlife was fine. It was a good wrap up almost to the franchise. And if it ended there, that's fine. They want to carry on. It's about trying to find, because I don't want Afterlife in the title. That's not going to make any sense. So they're going to have to make sure that it's Ghostbusters, whatever. I think I said this, Max. I don't know if you were on the stream with me, if this was a different one, but I basically said, I think Jace was with us, but maybe there's a ton of Ghostbusters material. Like Ghostbusters was a really big deal. I mean, T-shirt, you're going to be familiar with the Ghostbusters, the real Ghostbusters cartoon. There was some fun stuff in there to work with.
Oh yeah, it was great. The cartoon was Okay, I'm just going to come out and say this. Pretty much all the cartoons from the 80s and the 90s were just gold.
Pretty much.
I mean, you know, you can go back and you can watch them and they were fun. And the nice thing is the way they were made is the adults could enjoy them as much as the kids. And
They weren't annoying.
yeah, they weren't annoying. You could go back and watch them and they're still fun. I mean, I'm still going back on eBay and finding old cartoons that I used to watch. Like I recently picked up all the Inhumanoids issue or comic or episodes. Sorry. And all the what was the other series? Visionaries. You know, and I'm still going through and picking up cartoons that I love. I got all the Conan the Adventurer.
Oh yeah,
you know,
that's good stuff.
yeah, I got all those cartoons, and there's more, and I'm really, really thankful to all the archivists out there who've kept all this stuff and are making it available.
You know, Ironcaster, you have a great comment, bro, and I appreciate that very much because it says, unlike Ghostbusters 2, they wanted to strike while the irons are hot with this sequel. Yeah, I agree. This is it. And I think it's also fine. Like, it doesn't really matter too much. It doesn't matter as much if Bill Murray doesn't want to participate. I think Aykroyd will, but by the way, but it doesn't matter as much. Like Ernie Hudson was set up in the end credit scene, wealthy investor, businessman, him doing it or coming up a way to deal with something. It would be easy to probably get Aykroyd come in for a cameo or something, maybe at the end or whatever. I think it's one of those things where I'm just happy to see Ghostbusters stuff. I'm happy to see some excitement about Ghostbusters. We went into a comic shop. Mags, you would love this. You would have froze too, I think. And I turned and there's a 1-on-1, a life-size Slimer on the shelf behind me.
Oh,
and I just
no.
kind of froze, like, and I asked the guy, so how much? He's like, it's not for sale. And then he's like, well, you can get them online. What? I checked the prices of what he told me. I'm like, nah, they cost quite a bit more than what you're telling me. So you're a little outdated with your marketing prices there. So
yeah, I saw one of those in over at Mile High Comics over in Denver, and yeah, they're impressive when you get up close to them because they're big.
Yeah, it's nice. It's and the detail. It looks really, really good. But to find one for less than $1,000 is probably rough, especially if you have to ship it. It's like, yeah, you're going over probably $1,000. I don't. This guy was telling me way lower than that. That was not what I was finding online. Let's see. I'd have chosen a larger Midwest town for the next film. Chicago, for example, has a ton of potential for a new Ghost. This film could be a retread, familiar to ground again, and be weaker for it. Yeah, it could be. I would like to say that the Reitman, he's interested in trying to take what his dad created and like it's a labor of love. Squeaka Mouse is in the house. Hey, Squeaka.
Squeaka.
Yeah.
Hey, girl.
So, yeah, it's just it's really good. So, and Jace, I see you there, guys. Yeah, I've had crazy schedules. I was on vacation for a week and a half, getting a year older and all that kind of fun stuff. So yeah, sorry for you guys. And I know I haven't been on your streams and doing that.
I have to admit what is really frustrating is the fact that there are other YouTube channels I've seen out there who they talked about all the different Ghostbusters and all out of all the different franchises. Of course, a lot of them pin a lot of the blame on Bill Murray for not signing off on everything and not agreeing and all this other stuff. And that's why the Ghostbusters franchise kind of died as early as it did. But in the same thing, they also continue to blame the fans, saying that it was entitlement and just obnoxious trolls, et cetera, that were why Ghostbusters 2016, did how it did. I mean, it's like, you got YouTube sites blaming the fans now, and I'm just kind of like, dude, that's just, how can you sit there and blame us for how bad your movie did? It's kind of like either you made a good movie or you didn't. If you made a good movie, we'd love it. If you made a bad movie, we're not going to like it. It's very simple mathematics. It's just the plus or minus. Which one do you pick?
Yeah, I was doing clips from our last show. There's like this whole segment, and we kept going back in this big circle. We almost couldn't get ourselves. We had to kind of like keep going around and around to get it out of our system of all of these different elements of things, and it's all about toxic fans and whatever.
Yeah,
and Ghostbusters 2016, and I guess I have rewatched it because I can so I could objectively say how bad it is. I wanted to be fair. Like, you can have my initial response, and let me be more of like the writer in me, the movie critic in me. And it was like, first off, the arrogance of setting it outside the universe as though they all created the Ghostbusters tech and stuff from square one was the first mistake. Like, it just the idea of doing that again was going to anger fans because it's just a slap in the face.
They were trying to make it into a reboot, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
So.
And if it had been like they were daughters, and you had one that had found some tech, or one was a research assistant, or there were different ways you could have gotten rid of that problem. But obviously, the film itself doesn't work on a ton of different levels. But I couldn't agree with you more, T-shirt. And I will say I do fall a little bit on the side of blaming Bill Murray, because I remember covering, I want to say like 10 years ago or more, Ghostbusters 3 stuff, scripts that were being worked on. Aykroyd was very actively scripting ideas and throwing them Bill Murray's way. He'd be in interviews, and he'd just be a callous jackwagon, deflecting and deferring stuff and things like that. I always remember, I'm covering it from a news standpoint, but as a fan, I feel very deflated. Like, oh, come on, Bill, just have a bit part. Just do something small. We don't need you to be carrying the freaking backpack the whole time. We got it. You don't want to do all that work. I got it. So yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to see more Ghostbuster stuff. I'm apprehensive. I definitely feel like Afterlife is a nice sort of bookend. Like you said, take or leave it with Ghostbusters 2. Ghostbusters 2016 is on alternate timeline. I don't care about all that. So
yeah.
Atwood's in the house. Hey, bro. Thank you. I did catch pieces of your stream. I was at work, so good to see you streaming again, man, doing your thing. And Ironcaster, you're a beast, man. You're a beast, man. He was up in here last night, so it could have been setting them up in Newtown, the girls in Seattle. Yeah, could have been.
I mean, this is going to make E.T. look like Raiders of the Lost Ark. You know what I'm saying?